Take two. Welcome, everybody, to Dark Soil Studios build session featuring Project Piaba. I'd like to introduce you to Marianne and Emmanuel, and I guess Lynn, right? And you guys can introduce yourselves in the project, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I am Marianne Wine from the Pivot Earth. We are just supporting Project Piaba at the Pivot. So Project Piaba, I'll get into that in a little bit. But really, I'm helping them figure out how to create this digital product passport. And I'll hand it over to my team member, Emmanuel. Brief intro.
Yes, hi. So, member of the Pivot Earth. I'm an enterprise architect, and I'm very interested in digital product passports because it's an overarching theme around regenerative economics. And I'll pass it to Lynn.
I'm just a hanger-on at the Pivot.Earth and wherever, So yeah, I've been working with those guys with various value flows related things for their projects.
Wonderful. Great.
So I'll lurk.
Good. I'm really glad we did a second take. That's much better. So then without any more, I think actually what the point of the build session today is to learn about your project, to learn about Project Piaba, to get a sense of the bigger vision, to see what it wants to become and this beautiful thing. And then we're going to make a little toy that proves some little aspect of that that's built on Holochain and that's working P2P really, really, really rapidly. And then at the end, we'll play with that. So for that introduction, Marianne and gang, if you want to share about Project Piaba and just teach us what it is and how it works and what the vision is and who it's for.
Thank you. And before I start, I'd like to introduce Fernando. Fernando is in Brazil. He's part of the Project Piaba team. Fernando, I'm not sure if you're in a position to introduce yourself, but I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I hope you hear what I'm doing. Just installed the Zoom app on my phone. I'm away from my computer. So are you hearing me well?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me try to show my...
You have become muted, Fernando.
Okay, if I change, sorry, I was trying to show my camera, but if I change screens, I stop speaking. Anyway, so my name is Fernando. I am an engineer here in São Paulo, in Brazil. I don't know why, I like watching fishes, right? I had aquariums before, and then I started snorkeling and scuba diving, and then snorkeling in rivers, or better said, in smaller streams in Brazil. And that's how I got to Project Piaba as an enthusiast who went to one of their expeditions, like Marianne did, and started volunteering there. Okay, so I have worked in venture capital, in startups with digital systems. I'm not a programmer myself, but I do have some background in technology. So that's also why I hope to be able to help here in some way.
Thank you, Fernando. So you can help me introduce the project. Okay, Fernando, if I forget something, some important information. And Scott and Jackie might show up. Scott is the originator of and started Project Piaba 30 years ago. And I'll introduce them if they show up. They're at work. They work at the Boston Aquarium. So we'll see if they can join. So the little fish called cardinal tetras are, I would say, the most popular aquarium fish globally. If you go into any aquarium fish store, you will most likely see the cardinal tetras. They're like day glow blue and red, this big, and they're very beautiful. for 50 years, they have all come out of the Rio Negro in Brazil, which is the northern part of the Amazon, deep in the river, near the Venezuelan and Colombian border. So this export, this industry, has actually created the whole town of Barcelo, which is 40,000 people deep up in the Amazon. So for 50 years, so many families and villages have relied on this industry. And Project Piaba came in about 30 years ago and created Project Piaba. They saw this industry and they wanted to support these people. They did a lot of scientific research around these fish being sustainable and confirming that it's okay, because usually we don't want to buy wild-caught animals, and that trade is usually poorly looked at, and it should be. So they did a lot of research around that, and particularly Scott, who may be able to jump on here, has led a lot of that research. So they've been going up this river for 2 weeks every year, January, February, for 30 years. And this is the expedition I went on with my husband, who is the fish addict, not me. But I learned a lot about aquarium fish because of my husband. So just quickly on why this is sustainable fishery. One of the amazing things about the Rio Negro is that it flows very slowly. The Amazon River itself flows really fast, comes from the Andes. The Rio Negro flows very slowly. And between the dry season and the wet season, the water changes like 15 meters in height. It goes up and down 15 meters. So when it's at its height, the trees are underwater 4 or 5 meters. And this is when, and also another important fact is that the pH of the river, when it's low, is about 3.5. That's a pH, so it's very acidic. And it's very dark, which is also why it's called Rio Negro, because it's this tannin color. So when the pH, when all the water comes, pH is diluted, so it goes up to 4, 4.5. And this is when they breed. And so one tetras can create thousands of babies. So then there is millions and millions and millions of these cardinal tetras in the forest that is now flooded. And so when these fishing villages and fishers go catch these fish, it's okay, because if they didn't, when the water comes down, they either congregate in the small streams or they basically die in little puddles in the forest. So they've basically proven that it's okay. And I think they've estimated that 50 million of these fish came out every year for all these years, and nothing ever changed. So
Wow.
so it is a
That
sustainable
sounds
fishery.
like a dramatically renewable resource.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic. So that's also why Project Piaba has been behind this. And it's also really hard to communicate to people that it's better to catch these, buy these wild-caught fish versus farmed fish. So let's get to the farmed fish. Because it was very tricky to breed them, because of the pH difference, people couldn't figure out how to breed them until 10 years ago. Hey, Fernando. And so 10 years ago in Asia and in Eastern Europe, they figured out how to breed the cardinal tetra. So all of a sudden there was competition. And there have been other things, COVID. And last year, the customs people in Brazil were on strike for 9 months. So during that time, a lot of aquarium stores across North America and Europe were forced to switch to the farmed fish, away from what they used to buy out of the Rio Negro. So there's been a lot of reasons why people have switched away, and this industry has gone down dramatically. And it's a big issue, because all these farm villages for generations have relied on this industry for their living. And as you know, if they can't do this anymore, they go to other industries. And in the Amazon, there's logging, there's agriculture, there's mining, and there's other industries. The only other really good one that they have an alternative is now fishing. Like people come to go fishing, right? Trophy fishing. I forget what it's called. That's the only other kind of good industry they can switch over to. But most of the options they have are not good. It's not good for the Amazon. It's not good for their families. So really what Project Piaba has been trying to do is to say, how can we educate the hobbyist who's going to buy this fish in the end? So this digital product passport and having this QR code follow the fish has been on top of mind for years, and they just didn't know how to do it. So this year, when we went on the expedition, Fernando was there. That's how I met Fernando. Fernando, and maybe you want to explain this part, Fernando, about how you created the QR code. If you're in a position, maybe that'd be great if you could tell that part.
Yeah.
But we did
Sure,
a
I just
pilot
need
this year to test that.
I always need just a few seconds until I am able to speak because I have to go to another screen to tap a big button. So anyways, Scott's idea of traceability, this is very interesting actually, right? Because the idea that the fish should have value added to them so that the Piabeiros could ask for more money for the fish, right? Is an old idea. Okay, so for you to have an idea, Piabeiros will earn less than $10 to sell 1,000 cardinal fish. These fish are small and they are caught in great quantities. That's not a problem. But anyways, it's a lot of work for very little money. And one fish is sold in an aquarium store for $5 in the US. Okay, €5, €6, something like that. So of course, not all the fish make it through the whole supply chain, unfortunately. So to increase the value that Piabeiros can ask for their fish, they have to be nicer, more healthy, withstand the travel better, okay? And be something that has an emotional connotation with the buyer, okay? So if I can tap into the well-intended and good intentions of aquarium keepers all over the world, we can ask them to pay more. And how do you do that? You show them that this fish is really valuable, that this fish has not only doesn't have a negative ecological impact, but has a positive ecological impact and a positive social impact, right? Piabeiros like the fishermen, they like doing this work, and they understand that for them to have fish to sell, the waters need to be clean, and for the waters to be clean, the forest needs to be clean. That needs to be healthy, okay? So showing more about this story to people all over the world has always been an activity of Project Piaba. So by visiting events, by organizing public aquarium displays where this story is told, by publishing materials online and elsewhere, and so on. Okay, and one big idea for many years now is the idea that if you can see where your fish comes from, you might value it more. So the vision is for a aquarium keeper to go to a store, see these beautiful, these fish are about 1 inch long. So they're really small, right? But they are really striking. They almost glow in the dark. They don't.
Keep going. It's just we can't see your face, so I'm just going to show the fish while you keep going. Here we go. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. I don't wonder if we lost him.
Yeah, no, as soon as somebody else speaks, I have to click again. So yes, I'll continue here. Thank you for showing the pictures. So so the idea, the vision for this project is for somebody to get to aquarium store, see this beautiful fish, see a QR code on the aquarium where these fish are being sold, and scan it and learn about the fish. Okay, so it could be initially just a simple URL to a landing page that tells, hey, these are wild caught fish from the Rio Negro. This is why it's okay to buy wild caught. This is the story behind these are the piabeiros. They are fishermen from Brazil, and this is the Rio Negro and the region. Take a look at the picture of a stream where these fish are caught. See a video of these fish being caught in a very gentle manner, and so on. Okay.
Yep.
And so this has never been done. This would be, I would say, step 0. Okay. Step 1, which is what we try to do. Actually, yeah, we started doing. Okay, was to create QR code stickers so that when the fish are caught and put in transport bins, each bin gets a QR code sticker. Okay, this sticker directs to a static URL of a landing page. Okay, and in the first part of the travel, the sticker will tell the story of the fisher group that has fished this.
Oh, it also knocks off, Fernando, it also knocks off your audio if I just share screen, I think.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
I'm unmuting myself in another way. Just a moment.
So while you're going over it, just because we got to get started on building soon, and you're starting to describe the flow of the app here, I'm just going to go into this supply chain, this big Project Piaba map that Marianne put together, which is just absolutely gorgeous and massive. And then come down to this section down here where we went over it together and kind of shrank everything down into a really simplified version here for what we might be able to work on as like a first starting one. And then this is what we'll be able to actually do today. But yeah, if Fernando, you want to walk us through the really basic process, and then if Marianne, you want to show us your UI, and then we can start building, that would be great.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
I'll try
I
to
actually have some photos. I have photos of the QR codes on the aquariums as well, if you wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the idea for this pilot was just to be able to have 2 things: a general story of the Project Piaba, the fisherman, 3 things then: the fisherman who fished that, and the third thing is the importer who bought this fish and exported it to the US. Okay, so the QR code that you are seeing, this is stuck on an aquarium at Amazon Peixes, which is a fish exporter. Okay, in Manaus. So we didn't get to that point, but the idea was that if you scan that QR code, you would get to a landing page that would tell the Project Piaba story that you heard already, a little bit about the fishermen and their family and where they work, and put pictures and maybe interviews. And then below that, something about the exporter, as much information as they want to share, especially because we want this to be an opportunity for them to get new clients. Okay, so this was a completely static system, completely offline, and just to see if we would be able to. We tested out the quality of the stickers. We use this as an indication for fishermen and for importers to tell them what they should do with the stickers and what they represent and stuff like that. Okay, so
Great.
very simple system. and
Yep.
different from what we have envisioned for a more systematic approach.
Great. Thanks, Fernando. And Marianne, forgive me for jumping in. But Marianne, if you want to go over the UI that you drew up and share with us the basic functionality of the app, that'd be really great. And yeah, Guillem, we'll be able to do the sticker piece today. Well, we're not going to print stickers, but we'll be able to do the QR code piece today, right?
You have to find that. Stop. Stop.
Like we'll generate QR codes, but they're not going to work. Like it will make QR codes, but they're not going to lead anywhere because we're not building a fully fledged system. So we'll make kind of dummy QR codes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I wasn't prepared to show that. I kind of thought you guys were doing that. So let me just find the UI that I created.
All right.
I put it in this folder.
I think I can.
I think I sent it by email, but my emails are not working. So, few technical problems here. Let me go into my sent to Eric. Here we go. Okay, I've got this. Why can I not share that? Okay, I'm just going to pull this up here. So it's going to open up there. There we go. Okay, so this is what I drew up and I thought we could try and build today. So this is my imagination of a phone, right? So you scan the QR code in the aquarium store. If you're in Florida or Holland or wherever you are, you scan the QR code and this is what you get on your phone. And this is, of course, not what we can all build today, but this would be great if we could do this down the road at some point. So I'm thinking having 3 buttons at the top here. One tells about the cardinal tetra's journey, the ones that you're looking at right now in the aquarium store. And then another button here, the story of the cardinal tetras, where we can show the photos of the Piaberos, of the fishers, their communities, how the fish have moved and all that. And then a verification button that shows that this is true. These fish came from the Rio Negro. And then it would be great to have a world map, which when you scan it in Wisconsin or wherever you are, it shows up that the fish moved this way to get to Wisconsin, right? And that interaction would be fun, and to see where they all went, the whole batch, how they went across Europe and the US. And then I'm thinking of having a tiered buttons here where under the cardinal tetra's journey, which is this first button up here, you scan it and then you can see your scan and you can see where the cardinal tetras came from and where they were collected. So when that whole process map that Eric just showed, part of that is the Piabero, when he collects the fish, he's going to take a picture of it and get the GPS code location, right? So that's how it's going to be built into the QR code, I guess. I don't know how that exactly works. So that it's verified that cardinal tetra came from that location at that time, right? And then you can also see how that batch traveled to Wisconsin or wherever you are in your aquarium store with dates and locations, because there's a lot of exporters and importers and all that stuff. And it would be really great if you could send a tip back to the Piaberos cooperative. They all belong to a cooperative. And if you could send a tip back to them, say, okay, I'm happy, this is amazing. I really want to support this. Here's $10. That would really help the communities. And then this middle button here, you get the story of the cardinal tetras that I kind of just alluded to. I mean, there's so much more to it than what I just told you. And then getting images of the fishers collecting the fish in real time when it was caught, and all the stories and all the information. So if you want, you can click on these buttons to get more information. And then I'm thinking a verification button for people to understand the details about how Holochain verifies the authenticity of these cardinal tetras origin coming from that location in the Rio Negro. I think something like that would be amazing for the hobbyists to see. And the other tank next to it that came from Asia, there's no information about that. So this is like a big marketing push. And there's going to be a big marketing push in September 300,000 fish are going to be caught in August when the waters are high, and be sent to Europe and the US, and 32 zoos are going to promote this, and it's going to be in like the New York Times, and it's going to be plastered all over the world to tell people about these fish. And because I think only 5 million fish come out of the Rio Negro now, when there was 50. So we really need to boost this industry again. That's why this big push, and this is why we need this digital product passport. Hope
Great.
that's good for you, Guillem.
Yeah, perfect. I have a couple of questions here, if that's okay. I just wanna do you feel complete with the explanation of the screen and the story and so on? Do you feel complete in that regard? I guess so. Yeah. Okay. So in that case, let me ask you a couple of questions. So you mentioned three things here. One is the cardinal trespass journey. So this is about this batch, this concrete batch of fish that I'm looking at. The actual journey that it took from where it was actually caught to bought and custodied and imported, exported, until it got to the store, right? So all that chain of custody. So how is that different from verification? Is verification, when you click verification, do you see an explanation, just an explanation, a static explanation of what's happening underneath, or do you actually see the chain of where it got from who to whom it got throughout the chain?
So for me, that's both a technical and a marketing question, right?
Mhm.
So think about a person, like a hobbyist in the aquarium store, wanting to understand, how does this QR code
Yeah,
work? How do I know it's
absolutely.
real? Like, how do I know these fish were caught there at that time?
Mhm.
So I think it's more an explanation of how the digital product passport works for them,
Okay.
and prove that this is not a gimmick.
Awesome. Yeah, makes perfect sense. The other question I think is, you mentioned images. Should the images be for this specific batch as well, or is location enough for that? Like the actual moment where the fishes are caught.
It would be nice if we could, because they are going to take pictures of
Okay.
them catching them, right, and showing them, and I can show more photos of that later.
Yeah.
And if not, when under the section called the story of the cardinal tetras, you can have a whole gallery of all the pictures showing, what it looks like there. That's also good enough, I think.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. Okay, let me gather my thoughts.
Yeah, let me say about the pictures, right? Having pictures of the specific batch being caught is, of course, something that is nice to have, but we understand is not a goal of this, in the sense that it needs so much work to get to this stage, and there's so much else that is very important until we get there. For instance,
Yeah,
they don't
understood.
have internet on the field where they're catching fish. This is changing. We are having more and more Starlink satellite internet connections all over the Amazon, right? But these people, they have wooden boats with 2-stroke engines and no generators. So they don't care for the internet on the catching site, right? But maybe when they get to town where they're going to sell the fish, right? They do have cell phones, they can take pictures, they could be able to access an app and upload those pictures and link them to a specific batch, right? I can see this being possible, but there are many obstacles, including literacy and technological literacy of the people, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Cool. Last question. Thanks for that, Fernando. Last question. Yeah, last question before we get going. So we are talking about the QR code. The QR code is attached, if I understand correctly, to a batch of fish being caught. And Marianne, I see you're talking, but you're muted. Okay.
My husband just sent me a bunch of pictures, so that's why we're trying to coordinate all the photos. So there are many more photos that I can share later.
Sure. So let me repeat the question. The QR code is attached to a specific batch of fish that have been caught. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
it's actually when the fisherman catch the fish, then that's when the QR code gets generated. Am I correct?
No. So Fernando
Okay.
printed out a whole bunch of QR codes, and he gave each village a huge roll because
Okay.
it comes from them,
Yeah.
right? So that they will go through that roll and they'll put them on those buckets I showed you, those tubs, the white tubs.
Yeah.
That's how it travels. But that's just because of the pilot we did. I mean, Fernando was amazing. He put this together really fast. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean,
Okay.
it could be that the QR code is floating around in the water on a piece of plastic. I don't know, whatever we can come up with that is best. There was just a test right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Got
we
it.
have thought of different solutions, right? Pre-made QR codes with a static URL. That's the first for the pilot, okay? But if we are building a system that should be able to track batches, right? Then we could either have a row of pre-made QR codes that are serialized and delivered to the fishermen, right? So each one is different and has a different code on it. Or we could give them, we also thought about buying small Bluetooth printers for them to use with their cell phones. But again, we don't know if they will have electricity where they are. We don't know if they will be able to deal with the equipment. And I prefer to keep it simple.
Yep. Okay.
At
Absolutely.
least now.
Absolutely. So if that's okay with you, what we are going to do is the QR code will get automatically generated when the fisherman catch the fish, and then they input in the system that, hey, I caught this batch, and then that's where the QR code is going to be generated for the purposes of this toy thing that we are building now. In the future, the various ways to do that can be explored, but for now I think that's more than enough. Cool.
Great.
I think I have everything I need.
All right.
Except the 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, so I'm going to need to ask everyone who can to unmute. So please unmute yourselves. And before we set Guillem off to build, I want to set expectations. Guillem's going to build for the next hour and 15 minutes or so. And then he's going to publish this app to a demo launcher, which we'll share in the chat as soon as he starts. So you can download that and have that ready and running and open and ready and running. If you have any issues with it, just ping me in the chat and we'll try to troubleshoot as best we can. But then Guillem can just stay focused on building. And as he's building, occasionally he might have a question that's relevant for building the app. He'll ask that, but otherwise have whatever you want to be working on that, if for those of you that aren't technical, ready and reading or watching or whatever, and just keep an ear poised. That makes sense? And if you're watching the recording of this, now is the time to skip to the last section and see the demo. Okay, cool. Everyone got it. So now we're going to do a 3, 2, 1, go. And Guillem is going to screen share, and he's going to put a whole bunch of rad pieces together, including a chain of custody module, which he made special for today's session, and put a bunch of things together and build a little prototype real rapidly. So I'll do this, and then we'll all do 3, 2, 1, go together. And 3,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1,
1,
1.
go!
go!
Sorry, I'm not sure that worked as like a coordinated 3 to 1, but
Lag just makes it better. Lag just makes it better.
yeah, it was just awesome. Okay, so sharing the screen. And I'm just going to be going with the flow a little bit. So first of all, obviously we need a new app scaffolded. So I'm going to go to our dear teenage stack to build peer-to-peer applications, and then scaffold an app with this command here. And I'm going to go to projects, web app. Should we call this Piaba? The app, the Piaba app, the Piaba project app? What's the name of this thing?
Piaba. Piaba is fine.
Okay, so Piaba, awesome. Choose package manager. I like pnpm. Cool. Let's go to this next develop. Okay. Okay, so the way I wanna play this is going to be big open DHT, only one, no matter how many batches exist. In the future, we may add multiple DHTs per batch, but for now, just that. And then we are going to have, so just one DNA, then call it Piaba, keep it simple. Cool, we are going to add Zome as well. The zone will be batches, right? Yes, so the batches zone, cool. So we have that. Let's finish scaffolding the batches zone for now. So we'll need an entry type, which is going to be an order. And the order just has quantity of fish, really. Not much else that I can think of. I think that's it. If not, we can add it later. So this is a U32. Yes, UI should be generated with a text field. Cool. Add another field to the entry. No, not for now. Not for now. Confirm. It can't actually be updated or deleted, can it? Oh yeah, maybe it can. Maybe it can. That's fine. So we are not creating a link from the original entry. We don't expect it to be updated very much. And now the important one, which is the batch entry. And the batch entry contains the order hash. And this is an action hash, yes, for the order. Cool. Then it contains location, which is, for now, it's just going to be a string. It's going to have the GPS location inside the string. No UI for now, because it's a special case. We are going to have a map here. And then, location, batch location, yeah, that's fine. And then we have images, hashes, right? Which is a vector of entry hash, no, yes, image, awesome. And then quantity, obviously, quantity, U32, yes, text field. And I think that's that. Yep. So yeah, confirm, and then update, delete, for sure not delete. Maybe, yeah, for now, let's not have update and delete. Just I think so. I think we're fine with that. Okay, so that's for the batches, so orders and batches. Cool. We have miniature entry types that we can play with. I'm just going to, obviously, I'm just going to commit that. And now I'm going to add modules, the necessary modules that we need for this. So For now, just keep it simple. There's going to be the profiles zone as the profiles provider. So this means that everyone is going to be able to see everyone else's profiles, but that's fine because this is a toy example and we just want to focus on the batch chain of custody to get to the end. Cool, so let's scaffold the profiles module and it's going to do a bunch of stuff, basically add both the backend and frontend to the app. Cool, already done. Let's also add the files. Opa, wait. I'm using PNPM, thank you very much, thanks. So, opa, now we need also the file storage module to be able to store the images. So let's also scaffold that. Yes. Okay, scaffolded file storage. Cool. And now for the shiny one. Well, shiny, it's not very flashy, but it's like a really interesting one. This is the chain of custody module, which is the actual verification module for the traceability of what the batch did throughout all this journey. So I'm going to copy this and add it here. So perfect, should work same as all the other ones. Cool. So to recap, we have a Piaba app with one Piaba DNA with 4 integrity and coordinator zones in it. So batches, profiles, file storage, chain of custody. From these 4, only batches are actually what we are going to be focusing on and coding in the app, because all the other ones are already pre-made modules that we are just plugging into our app. So I'm basically done with scaffolding and putting pieces together. So let's actually move to Piaba and cd Piaba and nix develop and pnpm install. And let's actually start coding a little bit. So yes, we want the profile prompt. Okay, cool. Actually, this needs to come here. Yep, exactly. Okay, and now pnpm start. It's going to be just a skeleton for now, but hopefully a good enough skeleton. Cool. So obviously I have a challenge, which is the only thing that we have been talking about as per the UI that we were showing is what happens at the end of the process. So what does the hobbyist see when they actually try to buy the fish and scan the QR code? But the 90% of what I need to build is everything that happens before that, right? So all the UI that the exporter sees, the UI that the fisherman sees, the UI that the I don't know, the people from the store see to buy the batch of fish. Let me move this out. So this is what we have. So we have a profile, and for this experiment, I'm just going to do a little bit of a hack, but I think it works quite well, which is the exporter and the fisherman are going to have as their name exporter and fisherman, and if this is the name that they have, the app is going to be configured to show the appropriate UI for them in that that makes sense for them to see. Cool. So if I just do this, create profile, this is what I see. It's really rudimentary still. So let's add a little bit of things that we need. So what do we need? We need the exporter to, first of all, input the quantity for its order. Cool. So let's try to do that. Okay, so if I go to my home page here, I should be able to do a little bit of routing. So routes for this. Cool. And now I say enter, and this is going to be async actually. Async, and now I'm going to say, what's up with that? Right, return false. And now return, do you like this better? Because the async needs to come here. Wait, what do you need? Enter is parents, and then it goes to promise of Boolean, which is what I'm. Pattern is missing in type. Because of path? Aha, exactly. Cool. So it wasn't at all where it said it was. Cool. So the path is going to be, let me see how this works exactly. Exactly. Cool. Or should we do it on the top? Oh, I think we should do it on the top actually. Yeah. Cool. Exactly here. So we are saying const profiles store this shadow root query selector profiles context as profiles context store. Cool. And now get my profile. So my profile is going to be promise profiles store dot my profile exactly. Oh, right. And we need actually the latest version of my profile. So that's fine. So latest version my profile is a way to promise my profile dot latest version. Cool. Yeah. Right. So this needs to go, this needs to run only when my profile has been created. Okay, deal with that later, but interesting. If latest version my profile entry name equals exporter, and actually let's do lowercase exporter. Now with this router go to exporter. If fisherman go to fisherman. Cool. And now we just have a path for exporter, which is like this. And the thing that the exporter sees is a create order. I guess they need to see it inside the home page already today. And I have already a create orders. Just let's just call it that. Cool. Or do we have it so that it should be like an all orders list and then you create order. Yeah, okay, got it. So exporter should actually be all orders. All orders. We haven't even created this, and it should actually be inside. No, it shouldn't. I think it's fine. Cool. So let's have an overlay page here. It's fine. cart overlay page. Cool. Oh, not even that. Sorry. Okay, let's just try it with this. If I'm exporter, then so console.log yay. Okay, this is not because we are already. So window.location is this. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Profiles context is here, not while it's loading. Cool. So I guess we don't do this on enter. I guess we do it on first updated. Yeah. Opa. So do we have first updated here? We do. Okay, so I guess I set timeout here. To allow initialization to happen. What about now? Window.location. Exporter, perfect. So now we are an exporter. And then the exporter goes to all orders that doesn't exist. Yeah, okay, because we haven't created a collection. So let's actually go ahead and do that. So it's scaffold collection, and that's going to be in the batches integrity. It's going to be all orders, global yes, order perfect. And now another collection, which is going to be all batches, all batches, all my batches, right? I think that's better. Or do we even need that? Let's hold on. Maybe we don't even need that. Start it again. Opa. And now we do have an all orders element, all orders, cool. And we need to go to our home page and basically replicate this. Yep. Here. So exporter. And now this is going to ¿qué te pasa? Okay. The actually this div should go here, right? And then if I am an exporter, cool. And it didn't work, right? Because we need to do it when create profile also. So check role. Check roles, just going to do this. Cool. And also when we profile created is check role. Awesome, awesome. Now exporter, cool, we have an exporter, and at the end here we say SL button. This is going to be create order, and on click we are going to go to router, go to create order, and then we have all orders, which I'm not sure why it's not showing. Let's see what's up with that. All orders is not being correctly imported. We imported it, but it was overridden. or orders. No, orders found, that's fine. Create order goes to create order, and I 1, 2, 3, create order. Oh, something that matter. It doesn't like that. Why doesn't it like that? Okay, let's go to create order, see what's up. So console log order, create order 1, quantity 1, something in the logs, nothing in the logs. So if I go to create order has an order. Sorry. I just got reminded by a funny meme that that's like a parliament person saying order all over again, and I'm saying order all over again. So it's like order, yeah. So why is this not liking order? Create order, serialize, not liking it. Ah, this is a string, shouldn't be a string. Yes, that's fine. Number is not, because this is a string. Yes, this is a string. We don't want a string. We don't want numbers. We want numbers. Cool. So now we have an order. Cool. And oh, right. Because it's like, okay, it's like that. So actually, I think this was wrong. Was it? The exporter. Create order. No, I think that's fine. Only the exporters are going to be able to create order. So exporter, cool. So now we have an order. You probably can see it very well, but it's here. Quantity 2. So let's do something like div class column style max with 600 px. And then justify, no, align items center gap 16px. Cool, closer, but now this, I guess, needs to go all the way.
The quantity is referring to the number of fish, right?
Yeah,
Can we just have it say number of fish instead of quantity?
yeah. Absolutely. I
Or
wish
is
all
it
the
number of
problems.
tubs? Is it,
That's a question. Is this
What's
is the
that?
quantity of this order the number of fish or the number of tubs? What do you want?
well, I don't
Number
exactly
of
know
fish.
what I'm answering,
It-
but I think it's got to be tubs because there's like 150 fish in a tub.
Okay.
On the other hand, they always talk about how many thousands of fish they are selling, they are transporting, they are sending. So for this specific fish, they will talk about thousands, right? Oh, I'm sending you 5,000, right? 5,000,000 for the Spanish-speaking people here in the chat, they will get that. So, so I would say number of fish, right? And the idea that we also have a number of tubs might be important down the line, right? But for now, I would simplify it.
Yep, agreed. So
Great. Thank you.
thanks
Plus
so
also number of
much.
fish sounds cuter. It just sounds much cuter than quantity. And for the purpose of a demo app, I think cute matters.
Yeah, agreed. So this is not the detail, this is the summary. So quantity, so number of fish. Okay, you got it. Cool, so that's the exporter view. Let's tackle the fisherman view. So if I go ahead and declare myself as fisherman, this avatar, okay, this is the normal view, which we don't actually like, because it should be the fisherman view. So let's see. Now I see.
Can I ask a
fisherman.
broader question about your approach?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm curious what you're thinking would be the method for actually showing end users, consumers, the chain through a QR code.
Oh,
Considering
yeah.
that would have to go to a website, and there are just technical restraints around displaying holochain on a website.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a whole can of worms. And in short, there's going to be an always online node attached to a HTTP server somehow that receives HTTP requests and does a fetch on the holochain node. There's obviously privacy implications there, but this is stuff that needs to be public anyway. So at least some portion of it. So that would be my approach, I guess. I know, Leo, thanks for the question. It's really pertinent. I know this absolutely doesn't answer the whole complexity of this. This is totally outside of this build session to be able to do anything like that. We're going to see how the chain of custody module does the chain of custody, so the traceability, and this is what we're going to be able to see right now, at least.
So for those of us who are not highly technical in the room, what this is about is collecting the data on a local first system like Holochain that's like local first and encrypted, so that the fishermen can take the photos on their phones, even if they're not connected to a Starlink, that it'll still work and it'll still log that data. It'll still log the GPS data, it'll still log like where it's from, it'll get everything. And that you can still somehow link that to a QR code that's connected to that data fundamentally. Then how do you have that data then accessible when you're looking at it through a website? Like what's the bridge between this P2P local infrastructure that Holochain enables and someone who's just accessing it through the web that they don't need to download a browser or download the app to do? Because a person who's buying the fish in the store shouldn't have to download an application in order to click on a QR code and have that go to their website. And there's different ways of solving that, but it's outside of the scope of what we can get into for today's session. And just because we're still learning to do build sessions, is my little exposition, like hold up a hand if that exposition is helpful to you. Okay, great. All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for helping us learn how to do these things.
I'm curious if that would satisfy the desire for user verification of the passport chain, because that sounded like it was part of the request, was that there's some level of personal verification and trust in that verification method as an end consumer. And I'm interested in what that could look like, and if looking at a website that mirrors Holochain is like enough.
Interesting. So, would your approach be to have people download a mobile app that can connect directly to Holochain, so you remove the trust in the server that's serving the web page?
I don't have a solution. I'm just curious about this because it's a difficult problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Isn't
there
it the
are,
same situation when we use a blockchain explorer, right?
yeah,
If I
absolutely.
need to know what's the hash of how many confirmations a Bitcoin transaction has, I go to a blockchain explorer. I look at that. I'm trusting that that website is giving me the information that I need. And if I don't trust it, I go to another one. And if they match, then I'm pretty much sure that everything is in order, right?
Absolutely. Yep. If you trust the server in the middle. Yeah. And like so I'm afraid I can't engage that much in high level architectural conversation. Eric, I'm not sure how you feel about it. I could drift into the background and let you guys have the architectural design conversation, but I cannot do that while I'll code at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Let's have Guillem focus back on it, and then we can keep paying attention. And when something like this comes up, we can explore it. And then if it turns into something that pulls Guillem into it, we stop exploring it and we put it on the shelf to explore more in the future.
Okay,
And that also lets
thanks.
us track more what he's doing, and if it's coming up to another critical juncture where it's changing the wording from quantity to number of fish, we're here and able to do that.
Right. Yeah. So order hash, this is going to be the code params order hash, and these params from here, params school order hash. This is going to be cool. And now this is not exporter at all. This is fisherman. Where are we here? Fisherman. Cool. Create batch. No. What happened here? String contains invalid characters. Let's see about window.location. Ah, absolutely, absolutely. So this is actually so location, and the location should be create batch exactly, and this should be encode. Cool. So right, it's not. Okay, interesting. Why are you doing that? So window.location, that's bad. Window.location is this. Create batch. Cool. So now we are starting to come into the interesting part. So this is create batch, and this, for now, we are just going to be able to select images and then upload them. So if I go to create batch and I go here, where is my upload files? Upload files, this should be, yeah, thanks, much better. Upload files, cool, images hashes, and now, yeah, exactly. So let's see. Quantity should actually be number of fish. Cool. Add images hashes should actually not exist, and then this should actually not exist. So everything here has to do with the fact that upload files actually can handle multiple images by themselves. Cool. So images, number of fish, and location. So let's do the location bit. So there is this awesome open layers element, library to do maps and locations that I found, which hits exactly the right, scratches the right needs for me. So let's add it. So open layer, what's it called? Open layers elements, bundle. Awesome. And now we need an open layers map, which is going to go here. This should be images. Cool. And we need to import open layers list OL map and OL what layer OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap. Okay. And now, oh, restart it. Okay, and then I also looked up how to, yeah, exactly, like this. Cool. So go to Piaba, click here. Yep, good. So now, I guess we can just have it be a ref, right? With map L. Yeah. So event any as well, and this is a ref. Cool, and no, this is not it actually. So if I go here and I say exporter, create profile, and I go here and I say fisherman. And they need a reload. That's wrong. I'm going to fix that in a second. So profile created, is it not profile created? It is profile created. Now, this is not firing for some reason. Okay, let's leave it be for now. It's fine. Create order, number of fish, 1. Okay, and now, yeah, I guess we can just have much faster all orders turn around. So 1 second. Awesome. Create batch. And now if I go to create batch, okay, this is not working. Where are my, yeah, OL map? Because we haven't given it yet, sorry. Style, what, 3, like that, let's see. Create batch. Okay, did something, obviously it's broken. So let's see. Undefined is not an object, console log map L. Yes. So if not map L, return. Undefined is not an object. I guess I have to. Oh, this might be a big problem. TLS support not available. This is why the map isn't working here. Yeah. Okay, let's see what we can do about that. So first of all, let's inspect this. Oh. Yeah, map L. Oh no, it's actually here. Cool. So map L, update complete. Cool. Map L, map. No. Oh, it doesn't have anything. Ah, because we're misplacing it. Ah, misplaced it. So this shouldn't be. There should be here actually. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So if I close this, create batch. Cool. Now we don't have that anymore. And now, okay,
Does it
is
need a
there a
width
way?
maybe?
What's that?
Maybe a width too?
No, it's not with. It's making request to HTTPS, and it seems we don't have support for that. TLS support is not available. So if I go to network and I inspect what's been happening here, okay, this might be a big problem for the map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shelf that and for now move on to the chain of custody and have it work up until the customer buys it. And then if we have time, which I'm not sure because I thought this was going to work like this, but if we have time, we can go back and see if we can make the map work. Cool. So images, let's imagine we have this image, a number of fish like this. Create batch. Is it going to work? Yeah, exactly. Cannot create batch without its location. So for now, location is going to be unknown. So I create a batch with some images to fish. Error creating the batch. It's the same quantity thing. So it's like parse int as any. Create batch. We're creating the batch. Okay, so we have a batch now. Cool. So now that we have a batch, let's actually start working on the QR code. So if I go to, okay, so this fisherman, how made this work? Now we have the batch and we probably want the fisherman to see all their batches. Cool. So let's scaffold that. So batches, and that's my batches. So by author of a batch, cool. And now start it back up again. Cool. And now if I go to holochain app, order, where are we? In fisherman, it should be fisherman or orders. Cool. So this should be like orders. And then Right, and this probably needs to be in a row. Okay, column and then in a row. Tab 16. We have batches for agent. Okay, let's see what's up. My batches, yeah, sorry. So batches for, no, batches, batch, my batches, yeah, right. My batches. And in my batches, that's author, and author is going to be us. Is that we don't have a store here, do we? But do we do have a client? Cool. So again, and actually, let me boot up a third agent. So npm start now, because we know we need the exporter, the fisherman, and then the buyer. So exporter. This is fisherman. And then it's another one. So, okay, cool, wait, because this needs to be, this is a row, and now it's a column, and now it's a column as well. So orders my batches, and I'm doing something wrong. This is a row, and this should not be here, but here. Exactly. And this is a column, but it's not rendered as a column. We need to import my batches. Cool. Column, row. Inside a column, there's that. Inside a column, there's that, and they are not. Ah, yes, they are. It's just that it's big. Cool. I think we can lose this now then, actually. Okay, yeah, close enough. So exporter creates an order, cool, and now I see it and I can create a batch, and the batch is going to be for one. What was that? Because, right. So if I go to create batch, so this may actually be undefined, so or this. Okay, so I can, yes, create batch, and then number of fish 1, create, okay, and I see, and now in the Holochain app, when it's like batch created, we should go to, right, and what I'm realizing is that it should just go on the home here. So can we do something like in home, try catch return false, return true, await this.check roll. Yep. Okay, cool. Leo, forgive me for this. Like, this is really bad. This is really like just a hack. Cool. So now we have our badge here. When you click on it, it should show you the QR code, and then the exporter. Okay, so let's see how do we do this. Cool. So now we need the fisherman to give the exporter the custody. So transfer the custody. The fisherman right now has custody of the badge. So now it needs to give the custody to the exporter, and the exporter will later give it to the buyer. So let's see how we do that. The exporter. Or maybe any other agent can do that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to simplify it. I'm looking at the time. I have 15 minutes left. So I'm going to simplify it, and we are going to be having all the batches show as a list, and then anyone can request transfer of that batch, and then we can see the chain of custody for that batch. That's what we're going to do. Cool. I thought we would be able to do a little bit more, but time has been like really short on this one. Cool. So now if I come here as any other agent, right now I don't see anything, but what I am going to add is a collection. So it's a collection of inside batches of all batches, global batch. Cool. Start it back up again, and now this is in homepage, right? So in homepage we are going to say all batches. So import Piaba batches elements or batches. For all batches. Yes.
So you were gonna try to add a QR code for the fisher to put on the batch?
I'm not going to worry that much about QR codes as of now. We are going to have QR codes as an add-on, but we're not going to be relying on them for this toy demo thingy.
QR codes today are purely aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to have a QR code so that you go like, oh, cool, that's a QR code. And this is an app with a QR code. And you have that experience, but you can't scan that QR code because this is only an hour and like 15 minutes of building an app today. And getting the whole QR code system running is going to be more than that.
Seems to me like
But
I was
it's
thinking about
doable.
that problem of how the fishers would actually put the QR code on the batch. Seems like it'd be easier to just write down like a few numbers or something, like a batch number, and then the QR code could correlate to that, but they wouldn't actually have to print it or anything.
Hmm.
That's exactly one of the idea of giving the fisherman a row of serialized QR codes, right? So for the next batch, he just takes the next QR code and slaps it on. Okay, and the first opportunity that we have to scan those to input the data on the system, the QR codes are already with the fish, and you can enter the data that has been recorded in memory or in a notebook or something like that.
I mean, the other thing is it might even be that it's an NFC tag. It could be an NFC tag that's stuck on to the batch as well, and that you scan with your phone by just tapping your phone up against it. And then the QR code is the QR code is we want a QR code at the point of sale is where that's the most relevant. When someone's buying the fish, they need to scan a QR code that gets them to the right information.
Yes.
But that
I think there is more to it. There is more to it in the sense that, okay, the importer has gotten a bunch of tubs from from an exporter in Brazil. Okay, the moment he gets the tubs, he scans those QR codes or inputs into the system the serial number of that QR code,
yeah.
and in this way it records, okay, I got the batch that came from exporter X and from fisherman Y.
Oh, I totally understand, Fernando. What I'm saying is that an NFC tag would work just as well as a QR code
Sure,
in that
just more
circumstance.
expensive.
Yeah, so the place that in the system, as far as I can see, where a QR code is like necessary is when the hobbyist comes into the aquarium and scans that at the tank, because they're more likely to use a QR code than they are an NFC tag. But for
Yes,
tracking the product
or
along the path, an NFC would function as well as a QR code for that use, I think.
yes, for sure. We just want to bridge the gap between real world and online world in a simple manner for the user,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If that's the case, it seems like it could just be a number, and the next person who buys the batch could just go to the website and put the number into a search or something.
Yes, certainly too. Certainly an option. You don't need much information in the QR code. Just need the information to match the batch that you have with the record of that batch in the system.
Custody transfers for resource. It's not liking that. Why not? Okay. Cool. So now this is where our chain of custody module starts to weigh in. So we can say something like render request transfer, custody transfer. So we are going to be consuming the chain of custody store, chain of custody store, chain of custody store context call, and we are going to get const current custodian. So who actually custodies this batch right now? And here custodian is the name of the person who actually is holding the resource right now. So we are going to get the current custodian, one argument, oh, right, because this is this dot batch hash, get if current custodian dot status is not completed, then we don't show anything. And now return, actually, if value, and this value is the agent public key of the current custodian. So encode that if I'm actually holding it right now. So this dot store client, client, my pub key, then proton anything. If not, then we actually SL button
This is
request
just a
custody.
time reminder. We've got 22 minutes left. So if you haven't downloaded, if you are not AFK and you're able to hear me right now, if you haven't downloaded the launcher, the demo launcher application locally, then now's a good time to do that. Start it and let it load up and sync up. Maybe you have to turn it off and back on a couple times, but get that set up so that once this gets published, you'll be ready to play with it. And maybe pull up a couple photos on your device to have them ready to upload as pictures in your batches and for your profile. So that once that's set up, we can all just start digging right in.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So, show. Okay, cool. And now we just do this here. It should be a column. Thing. And no, this should be this dot render request custody transfer, and we need to import it from the chain of custody. So request custody transfer, request custody transfer. Awesome. Oh, so this is a card inside of this. Okay. How do we play it? I think we play like this, like requesting. So this is a state, requesting, which is false. And then if this dot requesting, then return HTML of overlay page icon close requested requesting is false overlay page is that requesting is true. Okay, so I hit this. Okay, perfect. Title. Request custody transfer. Cool. If I click here, nothing happened. That's right. Cool. Request custody transfer. And we have a location, nodes, and images. Send custody transfer request. Cool. Custody transfer request. I like this, so transfer custody. Cool. Okay. So we have the chain of custody working. So now the fisherman gave the fishes to ASDF, which is a cool. Obviously, ASDF is just a silly nickname, but this you can start to see the chain of custody there. Cool. Then
Cool. This is the first time that there's been a chain of custody demoed on Holochain since Holochain.
Yeah.
Just want
Yeah.
to mark that Guillem is like really subtly just going, yeah, this is ASDF is doing this. This is thank you, Emmanuel. This is a P2P chain of custody that works in internet shutdown and no internet circumstances that Guillem is just like casually offhandedly saying like, yeah, this is like a fisherman giving something to ASDF. And that little arrow there is just so darn significant. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This should honestly have like 10 check marks, little icon, you know, like this is actually a countersign signature, countersign entry in Holochain, only possible to do if everything underneath is verified and correct. Like this should have probably like I'm not sure how many check marks until you get to a decreasing value of no, wait, this is too many check marks, really. We don't like too many check marks. But I'm just trying to stress that there is a huge amount of verifiability and traceability behind this little entry here. Cool, so I'm basically wrapping everything up here, and what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take away this. I'm going to be simplifying because we are about to end. So we need simplification is our friend always. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this view the default one, right? So yeah, exactly. Here, and I go to home page, and actually should be like this, and all batches should be here, goes away. Cool, cool. And then in home page, create batch selected. Cool. Let's see. So if I go to window.location equals nothing, this is what I see. Awesome. It's not my batches anymore. It's all batches actually. So homepage, my batches, no, it's all batches. Cool. And then I go back, I go here, I can request custody transfer. Okay, send custody transfers, transfer custody. Cool. So you can start to see the chain being formed, and now it's this agent up top, the one who's holding it. So now he cannot request anything, but now I can request a transfer from him. So, and now it's a game of going back and forth, right? So fisherman, ASDF, exporter,
That's
ASDF.
so cool.
Yeah. I was coding this on Tuesday, and I was like, ooh, interesting.
Really
So then last thing I'm going to do is, let's see, have I got time to do that?
No.
No, maybe not.
I think
Maybe
we should
not.
publish. I think we should
Okay.
publish. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me just make sure that everything works as expected. Thanks, Eric. Like, there is a little bit more on the chain of custody module. You are actually able to go into each transfer and inspect its location and its images potentially and everything like that. But Eric here has been the holdup for me to actually demonstrate and that. I'm just joking. It's totally fine. So, okay, yeah, so you see we have a problem. We can't create orders, so let's re-add the ability to create orders. Because now with that, there is nothing that can be done. So create order, where is the create order? This is the button, and then I go here and I say call orders, create order, and now it's this.dispatch event, new custom event, create order selected. Detail, create order selected, and then here in the home page, create order selected. Okay, let's see. So now I can create order, number of fish 1, create order. I can go back, cool, and somebody else can now come in, cool, and this would be the fisherman, create batch, cool, and now the fish, cool, no custody transfers found for this resource, but I can go in and request custody transfer and send custody transfer request, and boop, everything works. Awesome. Yep. Cool.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
Okay, so now it is time for packaging. What I'm going to do is run the package command here, and then I go in and run my demo launcher. Victor and Eric, if you are running your existing demo launcher, that's not going to work.
We updated.
Awesome.
We updated.
Thanks. Sorry for not giving you the heads up. So
Victor
this
found
is
it.
our, what's that?
Victor found it that we needed to update.
Yeah, thanks. So this is our demo launcher. It's just for us to be able to publish our mini demos that we do in these build sessions. Going to go to publisher dashboard, and oh, do I have an icon for this app? I don't, right?
Marianne, do you have a particular photo that you can share with us? Like, send me on Signal, and we can use it as an icon for the app.
Yep.
Or do you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay, I'm kind of blocked for like until that. If not, I can just
Take a deep breath.
yeah.
Not yet. Not yet.
And the coding has stopped, so
Yeah, we're pausing the clock. It's paused now.
okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah,
I
drink a
sent you
Gatorade.
a photo, Eric. I sent
Okay,
you a
got
photo
it.
on Signal.
Got it. Sending it to Guillem.
But he's the
Also on
Piabero, the
Signal.
fisher who actually caught this first batch of fish for
Okay.
the pilot.
All right.
Awesome, thanks. So Piaba. Piaba. Okay, amazing. Create Hub, Project Piaba, new release, version 001, first release. And I'm going to be uploading projects Piaba Work Dear Piaba Web Hub. Okay, it's being uploaded now. Thanks so much for that, Marianne. And now this is running on a slightly on the previous version of HoloChain, which hasn't got great networking at first. So it might take a little while for everyone to get the app, but eventually everything should work. We are in the process of upgrading to the newer version, which is much faster, thankfully. Oh, okay.
Little bit of tech trivia for everyone that status bar reminds me of, that I learned from Brewster Kale at the Internet Archive when he was showing us around and showing us the servers there, and there's the lights that are blinking on the servers. And he said that there's a name for that. It's like pleasant and blinking or something like that. But usually when you see a computer and it's got like a little light and it's flickering and stuff, and you think that that's tied to, oh, it's thinking, like every time it blinks, something's happening, there's a process going on. That's bullshit. That it's actually just blinking to make you feel that way. And that's what that physical infrastructure is for, is just to trick you and make you feel comfortable because it's like
Yeah.
blinking irregularly. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really human story.
Okay, so everyone can
So
install their app.
yeah, exactly. It's just published and everyone should be getting it. If you haven't got it yet, wait just a little while.
Yeah.
Raise your
Shut up,
hand
I
if
got
you
it,
haven't
and I'm
got it
installing
yet.
it.
Everyone's installing it, I think. I can't see Scott or Fernando's hands, but I will just assume that I'll assume the best, which is not what you should do actually in a demo situation. I apologize. That is the wrong kind of bias that I should be having building this. So we don't know.
I already see an order. Did anyone create an order?
Yep.
Victor created an order for 20 fish. Cool. Going to
Yeah.
create a batch from that. Oh, look at that. And now the map works. Okay, so the map doesn't work in our test environment, but then the actual App Store makes it work. Unfortunately, we didn't hook it up to have the actual location of the map be recorded, but that would be really easy to do in the next step, right? So going over here and probably if you're in your phone, prompt with setting your location and it sets you up and that's it. Cool, so I can upload this cool photo of me catching fish and I say I caught 9. Create batch. Okay, I now have this batch. Does anyone want to request, like, I assume now what I'm doing is I have this batch and I'm coming back to the village and I'm selling it to some exporter, to somebody that will export it to some other country, right? So does somebody want to buy it from me? So for that, you
Yeah.
should go to all this batch. So click on this, and then for you, there's going to be a request custody transfer button. And let me know if you have any issues.
And the image in this part of the
So you
Sure.
click the badge, which is this card here. You click it, and then you see the request.
there was an image. There's an image section in the request also.
No, you don't need to fill that. So the
Yep.
idea is that at every checkpoint, any one of the two people that are transferring the custody would be able to record an image of this is actually how it is right now.
Gotcha.
It's totally optional, but I thought it could be a good, a really necessary feature in some cases for chain of custody.
This is actually fantastic because what often happens is that if a fish dies in the
Exactly.
exporter has been delivered by a piabeiro, the piabeiro is the exporter expects the piabeiro to come up for the cost. So the exporter pays less to the piabeiro, even though the fish might have arrived on Sunday and the fish died on Thursday. Anyway, that's the piabeiro's fault, the fisherman's fault, and the exporter won't pay for that fish. So if we start with this, now that we have this possibility to say, no, I showed you my fish were healthy when I gave them to you. This would mean a lot to the piabeiros. It's still a cultural thing, and the exporter still has a lot of leverage onto the piabeiro, but I like it very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Absolutely. So you have in each transfer, custody transfer, you have the location. You have the I'm getting bombarded by transfer requests. Sorry. So each transfer request, everyone is requesting me to transfer. So every transfer request just overrides the previous one. Sorry. So every transfer request has a location, obviously, that should be set by GPS and nodes. And here you could say something like 10 fish were alive or one fish was dead or whatever. And both parties need to agree on this. Otherwise, there cannot be a transfer. We can talk about that, but that's how the module is designed right now. And then images, so a list of images on that. So Eric, you won. I'm going to transfer custody to you right now.
Good. I really need
Cool.
more Piabas.
Okay, so now you have it. Now go ahead and request transfer from Eric. And Eric, let me know when you have accepted the transfer request.
Oh, I got a transfer request. Oh, from Victor. I don't know. Do I do it? All right, transfer custody. I did it. Ooh, failed to create custody transfer. Try it again,
Okay.
second time. Failing. I'll hit
Yeah.
cancel. So now it's canceled. Someone else has to make the request.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I also made a batch of 426 to fulfill what looks like an order for 426.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Or someone, which I don't know who made that order, but someone could accept that.
I have to run, but it was a pleasure seeing you work and seeing T-Nesh in action.
Yeah. Thanks, Leo.
Thanks so much for coming, Leo.
Yeah.
So, are you in custody of this? Oh, no, you made an order for 426.
I don't think I made the 426 order. I tried to make an order for 5,000, but I don't see that one.
Ah, no, you made the batch. So
I
you
made a
got
batch.
5.
I made a batch to fulfill the order.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Yeah, well, we
so
can, let's close it out. Let's hear real quick before you bolt, Marianne, any closing thoughts?
No, I'm impressed how much you could build in an hour. And I will look at the video again, I think, because there's a few things that I was curious about that I think we can improve, but I'm curious to try and install it because my install didn't work and
Oh, okay.
and understand that part of the process. But this was fun. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for coming. Yeah, and we could just open up and Marianne, you got to run. Anyone else who has to run on the dot,
Yep.
by all means. And yeah, but we would also love to
See you later.
hear your thoughts or any reflections.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for organizing, Marianne.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Fernando. Oh, the
Oh,
talking.
sorry. Yeah, no, just want to thank you all. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me.
awesome.
Great. Thanks. Yeah.
Abraços de São Paulo. Tchau.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Cool.
Yeah, I would
Lynn or
also
Emmanuel? Yeah.
reiterate that I'm really impressed in how much can be done in just 1 hour. Of course, like all the fine tunings and the refinements would need to be there, but it's like impressive.
Cool.
It
Thanks,
almost shows how accessible it is to pursue these types of technology. So that makes it appreciative and hopeful when thinking of deployment.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we're
Thank
going
you.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Very fun to watch you guys.
Glad to hear. Yeah, so good to see you here, Lynn. Really, we're all just absolutely like delighted by your presence.
I've been wanting
Yeah.
to see you guys in action for a while.
And this is it. This is
I'm
it.
glad
Yeah.
you came. Yeah.
And
Mm.
Scott, did you unmute?
I did. I just want to say thank you for everybody. And this is clicking very well with our strategic plans and some big hopes we have for the end of 2025 to make all this real.
Great. Great. Just really excited about that possibility. Well, we'll say thank you all so much for coming. Really, really appreciate your participation and being here today and all the energy. This was the most fun. This was the most fun build session we've had so far, I think. So yeah, it was certainly the most fun one I've had. So yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So everybody, it was so much fun.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh.